Hey guys, Davey here from phonebuff.com, and in this video I'm doing my review of the Samsung Galaxy S3. In this case I'm actually using T-Mobile's variant, so I'll go ahead and do a quick hardware tour before I get into what I like and dislike about the phone. So on the top left you can see you have your LED notification light, of course you have your earpiece and Samsung logo, your typical sensors right here, and then your 1.9 megapixel front facing camera capable of shooting in 720p. Of course, you have your screen right here. It's 4.8 inches going diagonally. It's 1280 by 720 in resolution. That's 720p. Of course, it's Super AMOLED. On the bottom, we have our physical home button, which we could press to bring on the screen. We have the menu button and the back button. So a little bit different from your typical ICS phone. At the top of the device, we have our 3.5mm headset jack. And of course we have our secondary mic right here. We have a little insert right here which we could put our fingernail in to pull off the back. On the bottom of the phone we have our micro USB charging port, our main microphone. On the left side we have nothing but our volume rocker for volume up and down. And on the right side we have our power key to bring the phone in and out of standby and of course turn it off. On the back of the device we have our LED flash right here next to the camera, our 8 megapixel camera right here, and of course our speaker grill, T-Mobile logo in this case. And at the bottom you have your Galaxy S3 branding. And that's pretty much it for the outside. Actually, let's pull off the back cover. And you can see you have your 2100 milliamp battery. This phone is of course capable of NFC. And you can see right here is the micro SIM card slot and your micro SD card slot. So it's really nice to see that Samsung included this. You know, I know manufacturers like HTC were opting out to make the phones thinner or whatever it is, but really like the fact that Samsung included this because I love being able to expand my memory. Go ahead and pop this guy right back on, and let's kind of click it a little. Pretty easy to take it on and off, by the way. Let's go ahead and show you the version number of the phone. So, I was already in the settings. So, this guy is actually running, of course, Ice Cream Sandwich version 4.04 as of right now. I'll go ahead and back out. Of course, you have your TouchWiz UI right here. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the overview. Let's go ahead and get into what I like and dislike, starting with what I dislike, of course, because I always like ending it on a positive note. Alright, so one of the first things that I actually dislike about the Galaxy S3 is TouchWiz's UI. Not necessarily the features or the value that it adds, but more or less the way it looks. I'm just kind of sick of it. I mean, it's looked the same since the Galaxy S. I mean, I had the original one and it looked like this. I mean, as far as the settings go, it looks pretty much the same. Of course, the Galaxy S2 looks the same. And I did a comparison, right then and there, and it just looks pretty much exactly the same. So you wouldn't think that you're on a new version when you're in the settings, which is kind of disappointing because I feel like ICS did a really nice job, or Google did a really nice job with ICS to make the settings look a lot better with that hollow theme. It's a shame that Samsung didn't opt to use that. Just doesn't look as clean to me. Of course, it's personal preference, but anyway, that's one of the things. It's really not that big of a deal. I mean, if you don't really care, but I just think that there's better looking UIs. I feel like Sense actually does look a lot better than TouchWiz does, and I even like Ice Cream Sandwich's stock look more than TouchWiz. But anyway, that's one thing I dislike. The next thing I dislike is the keyboard. So I'll go ahead and open up a messaging and go to my settings really quick. Actually, no, I already did it. So whoops. So anyway, I want to show you how the keyboard works. I just really don't like the predictive text on here. So if I'm typing a word like, let's just do whatever, and you can see I spelled it wrong, so it corrects me, right? Which is nice, which is what you want, and that's cool when it gets it. But for example, if that's not what I wanted, and I go back and I wanted to type in ER, see how it says it gives me error instead of just finishing the word for ER to finish whatever. It gives me error, so like I actually have to press here, and I don't know, it just gets kind of annoying. It got so annoying to the point where I actually turned it off. I don't have that problem on my Galaxy Nexus using stock ICS or even Jelly Bean, and I really feel like this is the Samsung keyboard. I just feel like the stock keyboard's a little bit better. Of course, there are some advantages here, and I'll go into that really quick since I'm here. If you tap on this guy and hold it, you could actually go to your voice dictation, which we're used to with Ice Cream Sandwich, but you could actually go into text mode to draw. So I could say, I'll just write hi really quick. So hi, and you can see it types it out just like it is on the Samsung Galaxy Note. So a lot of the Notes features are actually on this phone. I'm gonna go ahead and back out of here, and let's go ahead and talk about the next thing I dislike, which is the sound quality. Not necessarily the sound quality when you're on your phone. Actually sounds really good when you're on a phone call, but I'm talking about the sound quality on the video. So I'm not even gonna load it up on here because I already did the 1080p video sample. If you guys watched that on the channel, I'll make a link down in the description. The sound quality just picked up a lot of wind noise, which, you know, I've done videos in that environment before, and there's always wind in that environment, and some of the other phones don't pick it up as much, so it just doesn't sound that good. And I've seen some other 1080p video samples from other people, and it sounds the same. So anyway, that's what I dislike, but the good news is that's pretty much it. I mean, everything else I like, so let's go ahead and talk about that because that is my favorite part. Alright, so the first thing that I like, and I think, you know, this is something that most of you guys can appreciate right when you turn on the phone, is the screen. I mean, the screen on here is just really nice. I know, you know, when you compare it to a phone like the Galaxy Nexus, you think it's the same. I mean, the Galaxy Nexus is a 4.65 inch screen. It's Super AMOLED, 1280 by 720p. It's pretty much the same stats, except for this one's bigger, technically making the PPI on this guy lower. So you think the Galaxy Nexus screen is better, but it really isn't. I've compared the two side by side. You can't tell the difference in the PPI. Samsung said that they made the pixels a little bit closer to each other because it is a pen-tiled display. They made it closer to kind of address that issue. So I can't really tell. I mean, you have to really be under the microscope to be able to tell. But what I'm talking about on screen is the size. Let's go ahead and bring in my Galaxy Nexus really quick. So why did I turn this guy off? So you guys can see, this is a 4.65 inch display, but the difference here, and not only is this, you know, bigger than the Galaxy Nexus, but the Galaxy Nexus actually has to use a portion of those pixels or the screen size for the buttons. Of course, we have physical buttons here, so we're actually using all 4.8 inches, and it just really feels a lot bigger. I mean, look at the screen size difference. Let me put these guys down. You could tell, I mean, the Galaxy S3 screen is a lot bigger than the Galaxy Nexus, more so than the you know, measurements would tell you, 4.65 versus 4.8. It's actually, the Galaxy Nexus actually measures at 4.5 inches if you cancel out this part right here. So it's actually, 0.3 inches bigger. Anyway, it's not just about the size. The reason why I really like the display, and let's go ahead and show you some pictures while I'm babbling on about this. So we'll go to my gallery, and another thing I like is the camera. So I'll go ahead and show you some pictures I took. We'll take a look at my little nephew. So anyway, this is pictures I took on the phone itself. But what I really like about the screen is it's always in 720p. So on the Galaxy Nexus, you're only viewing 720p when it's full screen. In this case, it's always taking up all 1280 pixels on this side and 720 going this way. So you're always looking at 720p. You're always getting that 16:9 aspect ratio, which is true HD. I feel like I get a true HD experience on this guy, even though the Galaxy Nexus, was one of the first phones on Android that had, a HD screen or 720p screen. I feel like the Galaxy S3 is really the first one that really pushes it to what it is. You guys can see this picture. I mean, I don't know if it's coming through on camera, but this picture is just amazing. I mean, it honestly looks like I took it off like a SLR. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but really awesome picture. Looks really good. Anyway, so 2 feeders in one. I knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone right there. I like the camera and the screen. Let's go ahead and talk about the next thing, which is I like the speed. And it's kind of hard not to talk about it. This guy has a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor underneath the hood. And the S4 processor has been shown on benchmarks to outperform the likes of the Tegra 3 and other quad cores, and that's really impressive to see with just 2 cores. And if obviously Android probably isn't that optimized for quad cores as it is for dual cores, but anyway, the phone just flies. I mean, everything I go to, it just literally flies. I mean, I could go straight back to this application, pretty much no lag at all. But it's not just the processor, it's the RAM too. So we're pretty much used to seeing just 1 gigabyte of RAM on phones. Now we got 2. I mean, this guy has 2 gigs of RAM and 2 cores at 1.5 gigahertz. Really, you're gonna get an awesome experience. Of course, TouchWiz does a great job at making the user experience a little bit faster too. You compare similar stats on phones between TouchWiz and then maybe HTC Sense, and I always feel like TouchWiz does a little bit of a better job with their kernels to make it a little faster. Anyway, like the speed. I already talked about the camera, but I only talked about the rear camera. The front-facing camera is 1.9 megapixels, so definitely looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if I can load this front-facing camera up really quick. And well, you guys are just looking at the viewfinder, but anyway, let's go ahead and put this in front of it. I don't know. Anyway, the quality on the front-facing camera looks really good because it is higher megapixels, shoots in 720p, like I said earlier in the video. So do like both cameras on here. Another thing that I really like about this phone, I didn't even think I was gonna like it that much until I started using it, is this physical button. And this is something that, you know, I liked on the iPhone. Instead of having to always press the lock button, which the iPhone's up here, on this guy's on the side, which I love the layout to be on the side. Instead of having to press, especially on a big phone like this, it's so much easier. You just gotta tap this guy and unlock. I mean, it's so much better. You know, I could be using it, especially if you're left-handed, you probably really appreciate it because you can just tap it and unlock just like that. So really cool to have that physical button. You just press and hold it to bring up your multitasking option. And while I'm here, I might as well talk about this. When I first, you know, saw the Galaxy S3 announced, I wasn't really happy about the fact that they're using the menu button, because, you know, I felt like that was old, kind of like the UI, but I felt like it was something like more old school, and, you know, they should have had the multitasking button here instead. But I really gotta admit, I like having the menu button. Comparing it to my experience on the Galaxy Nexus, you know, it's just a lot faster, and it always looks like this, by the way, when you pop up. So I'll open up like Google Chrome right here, and normally the little 3 dots are right here. When you press menu, you can see it just comes up in the middle of the screen. So a lot easier, actually. I think it's a lot easier, a lot faster to get to what you want. So big plus to have this menu. I never thought I would say that, you know, before actually using the phone. But I love the home button. You can double tap it to bring up S Voice, which I'll talk about in just a second. But you press and hold it to bring out your task. And by the way, one thing I love about TouchWiz, and I know I'm kind of going back and forth with TouchWiz, I talk about how I don't like it, I talk about how I like it. I do like the features, and one of the features is having all these apps open up in the background. Or, I mean, this is not a feature of TouchWiz, so I'm sorry, that's ice cream sandwich having it like this. And you can swipe them off like that. But if you want to close them all at once, you can just hit remove all, which is really awesome, because on my Galaxy Nexus, I have to like go like that a whole bunch of times to close them all out. On this guy, I just have to touch it once, and of course, I could go straight to my task manager to see if they're really closed out, and I clear out my RAM and things like that. So you guys can see it does close out the application for the most part. But if I wanted to clear my memory, I can just tap clear memory, clears out my RAM. You guys can see 1.62 gigabytes available of RAM. So out of the 2 gigabytes, 1.6 is available. So it's pretty much an extra like 800 you're getting compared to other phones. Really nice there. Let's see. Another thing I want to talk about is the thinness. I kind of already mentioned it before, but this phone is really thin. I mean, they did a really nice job to fit everything that fit into the phone with a, you know, external micro SD card and, you know, that big battery. Because when I have it in my pocket, it really feels like nothing's there. I mean, you would think with the phone this big, it'd be kind of a problem, but you can't feel it in your pocket. At least I can't. And I know a lot of people who've held the phone, and, you know, I let them like use it for like 5 minutes or something. You know, I'm kind of greedy with this guy, but anyway, I let them use it for like 5 minutes, and they really say, wow, the phone's really thin. You could barely, you know, it really makes up for how large the device is because it's so thin. Another thing I want to talk about that I like is actually, again, a TouchWiz thing, and it's the Smart Stay. So I can't really demonstrate it right now because it's looking at the camera, but and then plus I have the displays to set to stay on for like 10 minutes. But let's say you have this display to set to stay on for just, you know, 30 seconds or whatever it is to try to conserve battery life. They actually have this feature called Smart Stay. So what it does is, if you're looking at the screen, the front-facing camera will detect your face, and if you're looking at the screen, you'll see a little eye pop up over here, like in the notification bar, and it means that the screen is staying on just because it detects your face. So if you have a 30-second screen timeout, it'll actually, you know, keep the screen on. So if you're reading an article, there's no need to keep, you know, tapping the screen every, you know, 10 or 30 seconds to make sure that it doesn't turn off, because I know that gets annoying, and that's definitely something that I've really enjoyed. By the way, if you guys notice this wallpaper in the background, it's actually a cool Samsung wallpaper that, you know, lets me put in as many stocks as I want, and it'll just randomly flash the stocks. They also have one for news. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the wallpaper since I'm talking about it. And so you guys can see, here's the news wallpaper, the stock wallpaper. There's a few other ones, like, of course, Phase Beam is old, but windy weather right here, and deep sea, which is pretty nice. I'm not gonna really enable those, but just wanted to give you guys a quick look at it. Anyway, I mean, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that I could honestly talk all day about the Galaxy S3, but obviously, if you guys could tell from the reviews so far, I'm really happy with it. I might load a custom ROM on here with to get custom software, but I do like TouchWiz. I do like the value-added features that they have. I just don't like the way it looks, but other than that, I mean, the Galaxy S3 is just an awesome phone. I've really enjoyed my time with it, and I really recommend it. But anyway, that's it for me in this review. Hopefully I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, just drop them down in the comments, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. But anyway, that's it for me in this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.